going to talk about influence. And essentially, in studying influence and persuasion, starting with Robert Cialdini and then many others, I found there's a few core principles that matter more than everything else. And the number one most important thing, I think, in raising capital or investing money as a private investor or running a business is integrity and alignment. So the integration of everything. So who's on your team, with your company values, with the food you eat, with how you spend your time, with what books you read, with what media you consume, what you think about most of the time is who you become eventually is what people often say, because it's been proven true. The way you think is typically the way you think the next day. The way you commute is the way you commute the next day, et cetera. And when I studied influence and persuasion for hundreds and hundreds of hours, and after my MBA was done, that's all I studied through the Harvard ALM program, was taking a bunch of courses on psychology and psychiatry. And I was the only non-psychiatrist or psychologist in those classes. It became obvious there's a few core things that move the needle more than anything else. The first is that the more you can be an authority figure, the more influential you are. If something is scarce, people want it more. And if they see you have a high conviction and you're very committed, they're going to trust you and listen to you more. So how do you do all three things at once? You build the investor funnel because it shows commitment. You add value first, which enacts reciprocation. They want to thank you by referring someone to you or working with you. You position yourself as not only an authority, but a scarce authority, because they don't know anyone else who knows as much as you do about the sandbox that you've chosen. And you've been most generous with what you've learned out of everybody in the world. So there might be a lot of rocket scientists, but there's only a couple that are really well known that have been most generous sharing their findings or what they're doing. That's a big shortcut to the whole influence persuasion world and adapting it to the investment world. And in some of our workshops, we just talk about the investor funnel and how to put it into place. And we don't mention influence and persuasion for more than one slide. And then at our investor influence workshop for 5 hours, we talk about influence and persuasion. And that's all we talk about. And we go deep on why it's working, how to keep it in mind, and how to custom apply it to what your challenges and opportunities are.